can you just give me some like very simple but like shocking facts about email
Sure.
that will convince people that email security is like a really, really broad domain?
Okay. Yeah. So, for example, I don't know if you followed what happened with this hafnium APT this year. So, the Chinese government controls this thing called hafnium. All right. And they found some 0 days in exchange. All right. They found four of them, in fact, and they used all four of them so that any like exchange server on the internet, they could just go and download all the contents up. Right. And so what's different about this one versus prior ones is that they didn't just do it to go after like a couple companies and like whatever Tibetan activists that they usually go after. When they realized that they were like getting found out, they hit like 100,000 different organizations and they downloaded the email of 100,000 different organizations. That's a problem that we care about. For example, you can go on our site and our love page and, you know, like see people talking about this hafnium thing, or with the case of SolarWinds, right? Like they actually went and compromised this vendor, SolarWinds, the Russians, and, or, you know, depends who you ask, but, you know, obviously. And so then after they did that, they did this whole elaborate thing just to hack Microsoft itself. And then once they got into Microsoft, then they started raiding people's Office 365 so that they could steal email. So email is two things, right? In security, there's two concepts, right? There's something called a vector, which is how I get you. And there's something called a target, which is what I want. All right. And when you talk about email, like I'm going to send you some tricky thing that maybe you'll click on, right? We're just talking about email as a vector that maybe I got you to click on something, but then I got your laptop after you clicked on that. And now that I've got your laptop, what else am I going to do? And blah, 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 right? But like email is also a target that people actually want, to the point that they'll burn 4 O days to steal it, right? Or they'll go and compromise like elaborate software suppliers to be able to get it, right? Or you know what? Like even if I compromise your laptop, the first thing I'm probably going to do inside a corporate environment is open up the email client and download everything that's in there, because everybody is talking about everything and doing everything and whatever. Like, you know, I'll compromise your laptop. I'll open up your email client. I'll see you talking to somebody else about a payment. And then I will slide into that thread and then change the account number and say, oh no, could you send it here instead? And then I'll steal like $1 million from you on a wire, right? So the point is, people are trying to get into your email. And they're not just trying to send you tricky things, right? They're not just trying to send you malware. If I get into your email, for example, how many things do you sign into with your email, where your email is like your username and stuff? Like most things, I assume, right? So
more specifically, my Google account.
Yeah,
right.
But it's still like,
there's a bit of a distinction, but it's the same thing pretty much.
Right. But does it have what happens when you forget your password on most apps?
Yeah, everything goes through email.
Right. So if I get into your email, I spread to everything else and I go and get everything else too.
Oh yeah.
Right.
It's the single point of failure subject to two-factor authentication, basically.
Right. But if I get your laptop,
which is horribly weak. Two-factor authentication is like super weak, super defenseless, like, you know, can be routed through an insecure SMS infrastructure, effectively not secure at all.
Well, I mean, it depends on the actual second factor, of course. Like if you're using, you know, WebAuthn or YubiKeys or something, like, you know, you're in far better shape than if you're using SMS two-factor.
But I think there's vectors where if you push on it further, eventually it routes to SMS infrastructure, which is
people fall back on SMS, which it blows my mind. Like I don't know why they do that, but you know, like a modern MacBook actually has a WebAuthn token built in because Touch ID. And you can use Face ID now, even as a
by the way,
factor.
I've become an Apple person because of security. I've just become an Apple person.
That's like their brand, man. That's what they're going after.
I finally see it. It's pretty amazing. Once you finally see it, once you finally see how important this feature is, it's just, you can't really go with Android. As good as Android software is, as bad as Siri is, and as much as I want the Google Assistant, you actually just have to bow down to the gods of security.
I mean, I think Android's an ecosystem. So like obviously some like, you know, LG phone that hasn't seen a patch in 2 years is not going to be in great shape. But like the you know, the people that are doing device security on the Pixel phones, like they know what they're doing.